Hello, friends, and welcome back to our Secular Buddhist Essentials program. My name is Venerable Tarpa. I have another thrilling class for everybody prepared. At this point of the text that we're currently working on, we've been digging deep into secular Buddhism. We give a short presentation at the beginning of the book, but here we wanted to do an in-depth view on it. So we've been talking about it the last couple weeks. What is it? Views on it. But today we're on to what I'm calling the guiding principles of secular Buddhism. And I've prepared this, and I'm really curious what the Sangha thinks of these. I have a list of 20 guiding principles of secular Buddhism. Can't wait to share it. So, first of all schools of Buddhist thought, including secular Buddhism, share the basic aim of awakening. We might define it differently, but we all are moving in that direction. And equally, all Buddhist schools of thought share the same basic tenets and values. However, it's in the pursuit of these aims and values that differences arise. Here I'd like to share these principles that differentiate secular Buddhism from traditional Buddhism. There's a great quote by Stephen Batchelor I've always loved, and it goes, I see Buddhism as a constantly evolving culture of awakening rather than a religious system. I always thought that was quite nice, and I think I agree with that myself. So as we present these, I'm going to put them on the screen, and I don't have a lot to share with you today, so we're going to take our time and go through these together. But remember that different secular Buddhist teachers and groups emphasize or de-emphasize different aspects of the Buddhist teachings. With that said, this is a list of principles that many secular Buddhist groups share. And I'm going to put this on the screen for everybody. Okay. So, and this different people, this thing's jumping all around. I was hoping I can get all 20. There we go. So in our list, I thought about this as more defining secular Buddhism. Stephen Batchelor, in his 2018 book, After Buddhism, he has a nice list of 10 things that he thinks kind of make a Buddhist practitioner, a secular Buddhist practitioner. In his account, I think it's more about laying out what practice and our aims are, where in mine, I'm more trying to define secular Buddhism for everyone. Anyways, this is the list I have. I'm not married to it, and I'd love to hear people's views on it. So number one, generally, secular Buddhism is agnostic, embracing the mystery, but not the mystical. So starting with Stephen Batchelor himself, the father of modern secular Buddhism, originally he was going to call his movement agnostic Buddhism, and he decided to use the term secular Buddhism. So most secular Buddhists really favor this agnostic view. I thought the quote, embracing the mystery but not the mystical, was kind of cute. But sometimes the word mystical, our Sangha has issue with. I've often pondered if supernatural is the term we really mean when we say that. I looked up the definition briefly, and that mystical is usually seen as relating to mystic religion. So I think mystical is an okay word to use for that. But we have superstitious, we have supernatural. Dana, please share.
I would just drop, but not mystical. I think embracing mystery it also it goes along with being open to all. But not mystical. eliminating people that believe in mystical.
Well, we're setting our view. So we're not
Right. Well,
trying to
that's
eliminate them, but we're trying
just
to
my
say that
opinion.
that's not something that we teach. And again, mystical is more related to supernatural. Well, we teach it, but we teach it in the Buddhist context. We teach that it's in the sutras, but as secular Buddhists, it's not something secular Buddhists accept. I think that's fair. Thank you, Dana. Generally, secular Buddhism is egalitarian, open to all. I can't see everybody, so if you're raising your hand, or I might not be able to see you, maybe Wangmo can help. But just let me know.
I can't
The,
see him either, unfortunately. I can check the chat for you if you'd like.
yeah, use the raise hand button, and that brings you right up to the top. David?
Um, yeah, just to clarify that with these 20 principles, we don't have to agree with all of them, do we, to be a member of SBT?
No. And if you
Following on
notice,
from Dana's point, really.
that's an excellent point. Maybe I didn't make it clear enough. As I talked about in the intro, I talk about that these are general principles that most secular Buddhists would agree upon, right? So I really tried to assert it in a very open way, and saying that different teachers, different schools have different views, but just generally, most secular Buddhists think in this way, or these are the values generally. Is that okay, David?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why that word generally is really important. Generally, secular Buddhism is cool. So egalitarian, open to all. Some assert that Buddhism was the first truly egalitarian movement in history. Not that anybody could ever prove that. Well, let's say of the big movements, but it is true that the Buddha opened his teaching up to anyone, especially in India with the caste system. Anyone from any of the castes could become Buddhist, and the Buddha also at one point sent disciples out to all the neighboring countries to share it. Again, men and women, lay or monastic, were all considered able to follow the teachings and become awakened. I think 2,000 years ago, that was probably a really crazy thing to say. So that's pretty neat. Number 3, emphasizes a naturalistic understanding of reality within a natural universe. And so what I'd like to ask of the Sangha isn't just content, but also you could help me with editing. If you think that, like, that sentiment, is it put well? Do you like the way it's written? You can comment on things like that. I think this is an important 20-point list. So I worked really hard on language on this and terminology. And of course, taking complex topics and squeezing them into a little bitty sentence, that was tough. Number 4, views the Buddha as human rather than a supernatural being. And most Buddhists, when you ask them, they'd say the Buddha was human, even Tibetans. But when you dig deeper, you realize that it's not really true. That the story for Tibetans is they believe the Buddha never existed on earth, that he was just he from his Buddha heaven, he merely emanated into our earth, along with countless earth systems, as an example of awakening. So there's a lot of mystic views of the Buddha, let alone all the miracles, right? Number 5, views awakening as a natural potential within human development. And these were important for me as well because they really helped me to consolidate my own views. Like that view, I always believed it, but to condense it into such a poignant, small sentence really took great effort, and helps me to consolidate it for myself and for my teachings. Number 6, views awakening as personal and unique to each person. What do you guys think of that? Number
Um,
7, yeah.
so for number 5, Padma asked, is it really natural?
Oh, Buddhists believe it is, and myself too. I see awakening as just an aspect of evolution of human beings, and I see the spectrum between confusion and clarity. You know, as you can imagine, as primitive humans, you can imagine the amount of confusion they had. They didn't know why lightning was happening or weather. They had no idea about things. And more human beings are understanding their environment themselves. We're gaining more and more clarity into our lives and reality. And so to me, that's an aspect of awakening, depending, of course, how you define it. That's how I define it. So I believe there's spiritual evolution. I believe there's evolution of species, and to me, spiritual evolution is another way of saying awakening. Oh, Dana, please.
As you go through this, I guess the question for me is coming up is like, what, which ones are the? Some of this seems like it's what I have heard in other sanghas as far as what they're talking about, and so some of this is not just exclusive to secular, is it?
I think quite a bit of it is. I think the idea of these is this is what separates secular Buddhism from traditional Buddhism. So traditional
Okay.
Buddhism is not, starting at 1, is not agnostic. It
Right.
can actually, they can be quite dogmatic.
Right.
Egalitarian, yes, but I just wanted to reinforce that in secular Buddhism. Now, some modern traditions aren't so egalitarian. Some can still be strongly against women or the LGBTQ community, things that, or other traditions. So that one, you're right, that could be emphasizing a natural understanding of reality within our natural universe. That's not traditional. They have a whole cosmos of supernatural in traditional Buddha. Views the Buddha as human, as I mentioned, that's a lot of traditional views are not. A view of awakening is natural potential for human development. I think I think traditional Buddhism sees it more mystical than that. Number 6, viewing awakening as personal and unique to each person. No, they kind of see awakening as one thing and everybody fits into that. We do it the other way around. We realize that awakening has a lot to do with your experience of awakening has a lot to do with your own persona, your own skills, and does that help, Dana? And you could keep checking for me as we go through. Shiva.
I think you it was about point 0.6. So I think you already said you just answered it, but what do you mean by personal and unique to each person?
Yeah, so the idea is awakening can mean something different to a lot of people. People can define awakening differently, and people clearly experience the awakened state differently. Where traditional Buddhism has a very narrow definition, with secular Buddhism we have a very open definition of it. We see it in a broader context. Do you think it says that?
I
Or do
think
you
it
think
says
that?
exact. Yeah, it exactly says that. But my question is, how do you know each one views experiences awakening differently? Because you're one person.
Well, through study, I know that different people posit awakening differently, even within the same traditions. And then, as a Buddhist, as a teacher, um, I understand that people's experiences on the path to awakening can be very different depending on their own dispositions, their skills, their temperament.
Yeah.
And yeah, and this is something Stephen Batchelor shares as well. And it's almost like their view of awakening is personal. Do you think that that sentence needs some work, or do you think it says it?
Um, yeah. I mean, I don't know, Tarpa. I mean, I thought an awakened person would like if two different people are awakened. Do you think their experiences of awakening or the state of awakened state would be different? I mean,
I think the important distinction is we use the word awakening and not awakened.
oh,
So as people awaken, or their view on what awakening
yeah, okay.
it can be maybe we should can be awakening can be personal.
No, no,
It,
no. Views the process of awakening or the path of awakening, something like that. Yeah,
okay, I'll
yeah.
keep an eye on that one. Oh, Miss Rula, please.
I wanted to ask about point number 3. What do you mean by naturalistic understanding?
Oh, non-superstitious.
Okay.
We understand reality as something that exists in the natural universe
Okay.
that's not manipulated by demons, by gods, by devils.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. You guys are doing a great job helping, by the way. Number 7, views karma as intention operating within the framework of cause and effect. David,
I've got my hand up. Yep. um, just
I'm
before we,
trying, okay? I got a
yeah, yeah,
lot
I
going
know.
on here.
I'm full of sympathy. Um, yeah, I've got a reservation about 6, kind of following on from what Dana and Shiva said. The thing is that awakening has got two different meanings. It can be the process of awakening, or it can be the achievement of awakening. Um, so you're talking about the process, but that's
In
not.
both cases, I
Yeah.
believe that's a true statement.
Well, okay, if you believe it's a true statement about the actual, let's call it nirvana then.
Okay?
Views nirvana as personal and unique to each person. Do
Sure.
you believe that?
I do.
Right. Well, that's correct. I would disagree because disagree with Tarpa. That's where I would disagree because although it's unique to each person, the core of it, the essential elements of it, are surely universal.
But your experience of it isn't. And
The
that's stated
the the
that's
the,
stated
the
right. Yeah.
your experience of the core uh, is surely the same for each person.
Um, I don't believe so. Thank
Well,
you
that
though. I'm
means
going to
two
look
people could
that
be
up.
awakened and have nothing in common to the experience.
Oh, I didn't say they don't have anything in common. I just said it was unique to each one, which means slightly different. Let's move on.
Uh-huh.
Views karma as intention operating within the framework of cause and effect. This one's important for a couple reasons. One of them is some secular Buddhists just outright reject karma because they see it distinctly related to rebirth. So, as we all know, many secular Buddhists reject rebirth. Uh, Many believe in it or have a belief in it. But the idea is karma doesn't have to be related to rebirth at all. But as the Buddha stated, I tell you, karma is intention. So intention is a real part of our natural lives, and it deals with cause and effect. So I think that's a nice line. It does a lot of work for being a simple line. Okay, secular Buddhism. Generally, secular Buddhism encourages critical thinking, reason, logic, and direct experience. And that was, to me, it was cool that we do the conceptual and non-conceptual, direct experience and logic and reason. Number 9, focuses on what can be known, leaving matters of belief to the individual. So you all know this is something that I talk about a lot. And it used to take me a lot of words to convey that message. And I thought, boy, I really brought it together in a simple sentence, right? And to make it a little longer, I would say focuses on what we can know about what the Buddha taught. And we leave matters of belief to the individual. You like that one? Me too. Number 10, doesn't contend that the Buddhist teachings are infallible. So this is a big point with the traditions. The traditions see the Buddha as all-knowing, which is the next one, and infallible. And many see the sutras themselves as infallible, which is pretty difficult to assert because many of the sutras contradict each other within the same sutras. And that's not to blame the sutras. But the fact is that the sutras are often kind of piecemeal. Many of the great scholars will talk about that, they believe the first few paragraphs were written by the Buddha, and they'll say you can tell that the later paragraphs have a different tone and were probably added at a different time. So we have a lot of that going on in the sutras. The Abhidharma was supposed to come in and make the sutras more readable and put them into a context for a proper study. But as you all know by reading the sutras, they can be quite mysterious. There's a lot of material in there that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And again, number 11, doesn't contend that the Buddha was omniscient, all-knowing. And some traditions posit the Buddha as omnipresent as well, the Mahayana, that the Buddha exists everywhere all at the same time. But that was just Mahayana. I didn't think I needed to say that here. That's quite mystical. Number 12, doesn't emphasize supernatural realms, mystical beings, or miraculous powers. And this one started out actually as 4 different points, and I squeezed them all into one sentence, and I think it reads pretty good, doesn't it? So supernatural realms includes heavens, hells, all those mystical beings from devas and gods to hungry ghosts to spirits and demons, and miraculous powers. Number 13. I think nobody's commenting because these are pretty established for all of us. Number 13. Doesn't emphasize supernatural intervention, assistance, or blessing. I really hated the word assistance. I just couldn't find another. The idea of when you pray to get help, assistance, but supernatural assistance. But I couldn't find a better word. And blessings is an interesting topic. I've been wanting to write a paper on it. Here it's important to realize we're talking about supernatural blessings. In a lot of ways, I think blessings are real, but I think they're different. For secular Buddhists, it's not a supernatural thing, but blessing to me is a lot about inspiration. Like when I ordained with the Dalai Lama and they claim you get a blessing from it, I sure felt different. And just being in his presence, I felt different. It felt like a blessing. But I think, you could also just say it was just deeply inspirational. And I wasn't the same in it because it really did put a lot of energy into my practice and things like that. So I think there's a blessing that's in inspiration from great beings. Number 14, doesn't emphasize the transference of merits, which is good karma. So this is a contention point with a lot of traditions, and even a lot of Theravada traditions who are very grounded will believe in such a thing. The Buddha was very clear in the sutras. One passage was something like, Buddhas can't wash away sin with water. The Buddhas can't heal with their hands. All the Buddhas can do is teach the nature of reality. Implying that something like this, that the Buddhists can give goodness to another person. I think that's actually one of the lines I'm missing, that it's like, yeah, they can't transfer their goodness to others. But that's pretty clear in the early Buddhist sutras. The transference of merit is huge in the Mahayana tradition, where they believe that through prayer and other things, you can really transfer your goodness to others. But the Buddha made it clear that we ourselves have to strive. We ourselves are only the ones that can liberate ourselves. So it really seems contradictory to the early Buddhist teachings. Number 15, doesn't emphasize. Generally, secular Buddhism doesn't emphasize the concept of lineages in Buddhist traditions. One thing I would like to say at this point, I'm using the word emphasize. So, and this is something I battled with I wrote a lot of this years ago, and I'm still battling. So, doesn't emphasize, SBT doesn't emphasize supernatural realms, mystical beings, or miraculous powers. That's number 12. What I was trying not to do was use a word that resembled rejected. All right? I mean, it'd be pretty safe to say secular Buddhists reject supernatural, mystical. But as agnostic Buddhists, I don't like the idea of the word's too strong. For me, I just don't have to ponder these things. They're not a part of the context in which I'm working with the Dharma. I don't have to reject it, but it's not a part of my personal belief system, right? So I use the word emphasize, but I was really looking for a lot of different terms. So in a lot of these cases, when I say doesn't emphasize, and it just means, we don't teach it. But I'm not sure the word emphasize is really the word I want. Wangmo, please.
Yeah, there's some comments about number 14, I think. Ariel asked, is this the same as dedicating merit, such as after meditations and stuff when we do our dedications? And go ahead, answer that one first.
Sure. We use that language, right? The dedication of merit, that's used by traditions that believe in it. We're using it, but we're meaning it in a different way. And maybe you asked the perfect question. Maybe we're doing that incorrectly. But when we think about the dedication of merit, what we're doing is we're contemplating these beautiful thoughts about our practice for ourselves, and with the belief that we're practicing for others. So we're trying to inspire ourselves. We're trying to remind ourselves that our practice is for others. We have an aspiration that I can share this with others. But literally, we know that when we're more content, when we're more peaceful, when we're kinder, it is contagious. We really can pass it on and share it with others, right? It's not magical. A lot of it has to do with reading our facial features, things like that. But nevertheless, that does exist. But we just stop short of thinking about it as a supernatural merit that I can actually wish my good karma or my awakening or attainments upon others. So you're right, Ariel. Maybe we should really just stop using the word merit. Anybody have
Okay.
views on that?
Yeah. I don't think it's a problem, but I I
It's
don't
an
know.
excellent question.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem,
Okay,
but
everybody. It's okay with Wamo.
yeah, I don't know, but I'm probably not the person to put
I'm
input in
just
on this.
teasing.
Pat,
I just wanted to
uh,
make you laugh.
Pat May had a good question too. He said, "Is a blessing from a scientific perspective not the intention to transfer positive energy and inspiration, but to be motivational or emotional?" That's kind of what you just said, right?
I don't think scientists would ever use the word blessing.
Hmm.
And then in Buddhism, as secular Buddhists, maybe we shouldn't either. But I kind of do see the idea that there is some kind of natural physical thing that happens. It's a lot like the
Hmm.
word prayer.
Yeah.
We usually see prayer as religious, as mystical, but when we pray and we're just saying good thoughts, may the whole world be happy. This is setting our intention. There is a secular kind of benefit from it all, but we stopped short of calling it prayer. We decided to call it affirmations and aspirations. So maybe blessing is the same. Maybe blessing, we should, and here we're saying we don't believe in it, but maybe instead of blessings, we should use the word inspiration. You know, I received such an inspiration from the Dalai Lama. Fascinating. David, please.
Just on the question of the transference of merit, I like that because everybody knows what it means.
Well
It's
said.
common usage.
Yeah, and like the word prayer, I mean, all the Tibetan monasteries, we all said the word prayer. I often still use the word prayer. And then as an agnostic, I also am not sure if more of a mystical prayer actually works or not. I mean, the idea, many people have claimed that when you get like large groups of people together and you focus your intention in a direction, that there's a result. I don't think there's any proof of it, but I'm agnostic about it. I'm open to research and evidence that suggests that the human mental power of intention is more powerful than we think. That's the whole idea of agnosticism, that we're open to some of these ideas. Oh, you guys are coming up with great stuff. Very helpful.
Dana has a question.
Yeah, Dana.
I just merit to me is just my training in compassion, and that there has been science research that's been done that shows that you can train people to become more compassionate. So I'm fine with merit.
Cool. Yeah, generally, they often state that there's a difference between good karma and merit, but I think it's such a small difference that, to me, they're somewhat synonymous. Um, but yeah, can we share our goodness with others? Again, inspiration. If you're around a really good person, a wonderful person who does all this, watching their behavior, it rubs off on us, doesn't it? You could say, well, isn't that kind of like that? And it could
Aren't
be.
we shining when we do that?
That's right. And aren't we influencing others? Maybe that's what merit is. It's the influence on others from our own good character. Now I got you guys thinking. And the doesn't emphasize the concept of lineage in the Buddhist tradition. This is where I stopped because, again, I wanted to talk about the word emphasize, and I just couldn't find a better word. In a sense, the longer version would be doesn't teach, right? doesn't hold a concept, the concept, hold would be an interesting word, right? Doesn't hold the transfer of merit, etc. But lineages in the Tibetan, Buddhist traditions, especially the Tibetan tradition, see, we're not rejecting it, nothing else. We're just saying that it's not a part of our curriculum. And now, in the past, lineage was deeply, deeply important. Without an internet, without books and everything else, when you had these wandering masters that were wandering across to Tibet, to verify that they were authentic, they used lineage, and you could say who your teacher was and who their teacher was. You had a lineage of education, and that lineage would also consist of a couple secret signs that they would flash at each other, that only the other masters of the group knew. That secret sign shows that they're authentic. So deeply important in the past. Nowadays we have the internet, and you can search anybody and all their credentials and everything else, or go to their website like mine. All my credentials are on the website, and I even have pictures there to back up as proof. I thought I saw a hand up. Okay. Oh, number 16. Generally, secular Buddhism humanizes the role of the teacher, moving away from religious authority. Don't you like that one? And this one was made up of a few secular Buddhism rejects the idea of guru style devotion. It had kind of that thought. I thought this worded itself pretty well. Dana, you're muted. Got to start all over again.
Going back to emphasizing lineage,
Yeah.
I just think that it's for me anyway. When you name everybody Tenzin, that's what you're doing. You're emphasizing lineage.
You are.
I would take that out. You know.
Oh, but we're not using Dharma names in that fashion. But you're right, that's part of it. But lineage is more related to teachers, and not. I mean, the students are there too because they're the students of the teachers. But lineage can be quite intense in the Tibetan tradition, especially in Tantra, where there's a lineage of holders of certain practices that pass it down. But no, Dana, it's really true. We don't get into lineages.
But don't you pass down what the what was given to you when you were ordained, or however what they call it?
Not strictly, no.
No.
I'm definitely not a holder of a lineage at all. In fact, I also share Theravada and Zen and Mahayana.
Yeah, I hear you talk about those things, so I wondered about that.
No, with the lineage, you share just that presentation, and you are held responsible for teaching that in the exact way it was done. It's all about preservation. So it's important, but in secular Buddhism, it's not one of our main jobs.
But the Dalai Lama didn't, when the Dalai Lama sent you out to teach, there wasn't the expectation that you had to do certain things as what he taught you.
Well, the Dalai Lama didn't send me out. My teacher from the monastery did. No, because I'm not a lineage holder.
Okay.
So when you look at lineage in that very common way, you're right. It kind of exists underneath things, but not in the same way. When we talk about lineages of traditions, this is very formal, and no, I was just asked to share what I learned, but I was also able to share it in different ways as well.
Thank you.
Very good questions, Dana. And with all these tough questions, you all help me to think about these deeper. When I have to, come up with a good answer for them all. It helps me to understand each one more and more. Oh, number 16, again, humanizes the role of the teacher, moving away from religious authority. So I like this one on many different levels. First of all, moving away from the idea of guru and lama, that one's teacher is in especially tantric tradition, you have to do everything your teacher says. It's a very strong authority. And even in Theravada traditions where they don't have that, they still have a really strong hierarchy and authority. And I think sometimes in the right scenarios, it's a beautiful and beneficial thing. The problem is, in many cases, it doesn't go well. And as you can tell by all the headlines of problems with teachers and student relationships, this is a real problem in the modern world. And the problem is just these teachers have been given too much authority, which isn't good for either person. It's not good for the teachers because they often get pulled into desire for power, and it's clearly not good for students. I like, and I think secular Buddhism asserts, that we look at teachers more in the modern sense of a teacher. And if you're a good teacher, you're respected and honored venerated by your students. So I think it holds the teacher more accountable. I think it's good for the teacher. Instead of just because you're a holder of a lineage, and just because someone says you're a master from another rebirth, everybody has to hold you accountable regardless of your work. That's a problem. That's a problem in the Toku system of reborn masters. There's a lot of problems in that system. Oh, Wamo, please.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Tarpa. As a teacher who came from another lineage and is now a teacher in the secular lineage, you still wear your robes from your other lineage. Do you do your vows from your other lineage, or do you now do secular vows?
I decided to continue to hold my Tibetan Buddhist vows, which I got from His Holiness, and I also do our SBT monastic vows. So I hold 253 vows from my Tibetan tradition, plus 64 Bodhisattva vows. I gave back my tantric vows, so I don't do those. And then for SBT, monastics have 76 vows. So I got my hands full. And as far as we're trying to establish a secular Buddhist tradition here, hence our name. Right now there isn't one. And some people reject the idea. They don't think secular Buddhism should actually be a tradition. The other thing is that usually traditions are founded in a very formal way. You have to go before a Buddhist council with so many masters and petition and things like that. But again, being secular and again rejecting this idea of religious authority, that some people have spiritual or religious authority over other people, which I think is kind of a ridiculous thing. We're trying something kind of unheard of. And I'm hoping that my credentials are enough to be able to accomplish this. So, yeah, it's a new thing we're trying to do. Does that help? I still wear my robes because I was ordained with the Dalai Lama. It's a wonderful thing. We're going to have different robes once our monastic tradition is founded. I'm not sure at that point which I'll wear, but yeah. Is that helpful, Wamo? Oh, she left. She got bored. She doesn't
Sorry,
even stick.
I forgot you
She
can't
doesn't
see
even
me.
stick
Yes,
around
that
for
was
her
helpful.
question.
That was helpful. I'm sorry. I forgot you can't
Ah.
see me. Thank you, Venerable Tarpa.
You're welcome. So for me, what was really important is moving away from religious authority. That's a problem that many people have with monasticism. They see monks as like priests, as religious authority. I don't believe that that was the original idea of monasticism in the Buddha's day. Monastics instead are renunciants and very serious practitioners, but I don't think they originally meant to be authority. Leaders, quite possibly, but not authority. Okay, number 17, respects the individual's role in determining their own path. So this means that secular Buddhism gives a lot more freedom to individuals. When you're in a tradition, there's not much freedom. This is the path. If you don't do it, it's your problem, and you might not have a good rebirth. There's not a lot of room. Buddhism does not appreciate creativity or improvisation. So most traditions are preservists. Most traditions are trying to preserve their traditions exactly the same way. And thank God they exist, because that means I don't have to. I'm not a preservist. We're a creative group trying to reach a different audience. Oh, where are we? We're on number 18. Respects the right of practitioners to interpret the teachings for themselves. This one is a bit tricky. I wasn't sure what to make of this one. Maybe it's just the language. But I guess I was trying to say that practitioners do have the right to have their own thoughts about the teachings. We don't, as SBT, we don't have a single view that practitioners are asked to hold. And as you can tell by the writing of this, when we say generally secular Buddhism, we really steer clear of writing down rules and having dogma of what people have to believe. We really like to leave it open. We like to have all the power for the individual. But does that mean that practitioners have the right to share Buddhism in their own interpretation with the world? If they're talking to their friends, sure, we can't stop that. If they're instructors or teachers in SBT, absolutely not. Teachers, again, they're passing on the SBT view, which, as Dana mentioned, is a little bit kind of like lineage as well. I like to think of it more as curriculum. It's our presentation.
No.
Go ahead. Somebody's saying no.
I apologize. That was me. I didn't realize I was unmuted and I was talking to my dog.
I had a feeling it did sound like a dog no, not like a Tarpa no. No, that's not right. So anyways, do you think that's worded correctly for the meaning I have? Padma?
I've already put it in the text, and this might be just a personal thing and not correct, but I think interpreting the details is correct, but the fundamentals, so for instance, not killing any living thing, it should remain.
But we're implying that people can believe what they want. So like the Four Noble Truths, they can study that, interpret it for themselves, and decide whether or not they're going to follow it.
Does that not come across as the details? So we all know that suffering exists, and that's a fundamental, but how you interpret the details is down to you.
Okay. But I think the fundamentals too we can interpret. I think people should be interpret all of it. We want to let people know that they're able to do that, and we believe that people have the wisdom to do so for themselves. David, please.
Just clarification on that. So that means that any of our practitioners can believe anything that they want, like
Absolutely.
Buddhists flying through the air and gods and
Sure.
all that.
Absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted
They're
to
not
clarify
they're not
that.
going to teach an SPT.
No, they're not allowed to teach it, but they can still be
No, yeah,
members of the
Christians
secular
can
Buddhist.
come, can be here, Muslims can be here. No, people absolutely one. That's the one thing we can't police is belief. That's personal. That's up to them. It's different when we're talking about teachings and sharing our curriculum.
Yeah,
That we're careful about because for obvious reasons. But
yeah.
personal
Okay,
belief, absolutely. We have no place telling people what to believe. We share the
cool.
Dharma, we leave it to them.
Okay, thanks.
Dana.
I just wanted to say my experience is like with the second noble truth that about suffering. When I heard that, I knew that I had suffering, but what now I understand an awful lot more about my suffering that I didn't even know was causing my suffering. So I don't think that is a fundamental, that you have to believe that,
I
you know,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And people are free to interpret something on their level, even if they're wrong. We're just giving people that freedom. But again, they're not allowed, they wouldn't be allowed to share those views with SPT. We're very clear about our curriculum, right? Wama, did you have I thought I saw your hand up.
Looking at these, Kat asked, what are the fundamentals though? But I'm not sure what she's taught. It says 18, interpret the details and translation. The fundamentals should remain. And Kat asked, what are the fundamentals though? But I'm not sure what they're talking about.
Yeah,
So,
fundamentals would be, the three aspects of reality, the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path. The Buddha's model of the nature of reality, I guess, is the big term for it all. In Buddhism, the fundamentals are the Buddha's model of the nature of reality. The Buddha's views on what's to be cultivated, what's to be rejected, good and bad. Those are all kind of fundamental. That life is filled with suffering. That suffering is caused by desire and ignorance. That we can transcend it, and we can do that by following the Eightfold Path. Those are kind of fundamentals.
okay. That's those are the questions that they brought up.
So, anyways, let me read it again. Respecting the right of practitioner to interpret the teachings for themselves. I think it's an important one, and here, without adding anything to it, again, it's just about giving people permission to engage with the teachings in their own way, coming to with what's sensible and common sense to them, coming to conclusions for themselves. It doesn't mean they'll get it right, but it just means that they have that freedom. That's important for secular Buddhism.
Tarpa, is this how you feel? Is this an SBT thing or is this a total secular thing?
This that's a good question. I think both. I think generally these are secular Buddhist principles, but I do believe at the same time I'm sharing the SBT principles as well. Like for each one of you, I would never expect you to just believe something because I do. I just like right now I'm sharing these and asking everybody for their own interpretations of it. This is a main fundamental point in SBT.
I've just heard of other secular groups being much stricter, like you have to believe this. You can't believe in rebirth.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if I was going to share it today. Stephen Batchelor has a list of 10. Well, I think I mentioned it already. From After Buddhism has a list of 10 things. His is a lot more related to principles. He calls them theses um, that people who are secular Buddhists would do. A lot more related to practice. But the very first one is secular Buddhist practice only for the benefit of this lifetime alone. I'm pretty close to the same phrasing that he shared. So right there, that's the first one I have great trouble with, where because he's laying down a dogma, that to be secular, and remember, he's talking about all secular Buddhists. So he's saying all secular Buddhists have to believe that. If you believe in rebirth, you're not a secular Buddhist. And of course, we reject thinking like that. Half of our Sangha maybe believes in rebirth, half of it doesn't. We're not about telling people what to do, what to think, or what to believe. So you're right, some are very strict. I've had many secular Buddhists tell me that I can't be a secular Buddhist because I'm a monk with a title. And so I reject that kind of thinking. Secular Buddhists should be this opening of ideas where all of us can share. It shouldn't be dogmatic, closing it off to only those who we believe are worthy of calling themselves secular Buddhists. I hate that thinking. Anyways, we're not allowed to sit at their lunch table. I'll sit anywhere I want to. Hey, number 19 recognizes generally secular Buddhism recognizes some secular Buddhists accept concepts like, that is a bad sentence, isn't it? I'll fix that. Recognizes some secular Buddhists accept concepts like rebirth, while others do not. And again, I tried to make this kind of open. Not just rebirth, but concepts like rebirth. So here's a premise I'm always mentioning that. So many secular Buddhists, there's all kinds of supernatural things in Buddhism. So what happens if, well, you're comfortable with rebirth, but you're not comfortable with the supernatural realms of existence or mythical beings or all the accounts of miracles and magic in the text? Can you be a secular Buddhist but still believe in rebirth even though you reject all the others? So to me, it's not so much about that. And I myself have a belief in rebirth. It's a loose one. It just seems like it's my favorite hypothesis out of all the unproven statements of what happens to us when we die. I'm cool with that. I'm a secular Buddhist because of all the other stuff. The realms of existence and the Buddha heavens and the different, being born as different animals and all these mystical and magical things. So I think that sentence does a pretty good job of articulating that. I got lucky, I think. What do you guys think? And again, we're leaving it open for people to decide for themselves. David.
Yeah. Ooh. I don't. I thought I'd got it, but I'm not sure I do. I thought we're recognizing that some secular Buddhists would accept mystical ideas, the mystical ideas, likes of, for example, giants and flying through the air and things like that.
Okay.
Have I got that wrong?
We don't tell people what to believe.
Yeah.
Belief is personal. But we recognize that some people believe in mystical concepts like rebirth or things like it, and some don't.
Well, couldn't that be made more general like that, except mystical concepts like rebirth?
Too many words. I couldn't get it on one line. That's what it originally said. But I'm wondering if accept is the right word. Accept beliefs in, accept concepts like. I don't know. I think it reads pretty good. I get you. And a lot of them would benefit for a little extra words, but as you can see by the length of the sentence, I couldn't. I tried to get them all on one line. So generally, secular Buddhism recognizes that some secular Buddhists accept concepts like rebirth or believes in concepts like rebirth, while others do not. I think it reads pretty good. Any thoughts? Miss Cat, please.
I was thinking about like belief and then faith in it. Do we have faith in concepts, or like, do we actually believe in rebirth? Is that actually a belief, or is it a kind of faith in that's what will happen? I don't know.
They're not synonymous. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'm
faith
not
or
sure what.
devotion,
Yeah.
faith or devotion are related to an object, and that could be belief, that could be fact, that could be knowledge, that could be a hypothesis. Does it make sense? Everybody okay with that one? Okay. And the last one. Generally, secular Buddhism focuses on ending suffering and promoting human flourishing in this and future lives. Now, because of the sentence before it, I thought it was okay to mention future lives. So, but isn't that our ultimate aim, right? I didn't want to put awakening in the sentence, but clearly we're trying to end suffering and promote human flourishing. Human flourishing is a very popular phrase in many of the secular Buddhist groups. I'm not sure how much I like it. Sometimes it sounds a little stuffy to me. Any ideas? If maybe we should use a different term than human flourishing. Maybe we should use the
No,
word
that sounds,
awakening.
I think that's great. Human
Yeah.
flourishing is awesome.
Ah, you like it. Yeah. So what do you guys think so far? We got a pretty good list?
Uh, just one last thing there,
Please,
Tarpa.
as many as
Um,
you want.
um, focuses on ending suffering and promoting human flourishing in this and or future lives. That I don't think you need in this and or future lives, because future lives implies that we're focusing on it. That's
I
giving
think you're right. So whatever you believe in, it's irrelevant. It's just focusing on ending suffering and promoting human flourishing. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's real nice. Everybody like that? That's why we keep David around. He's brilliant. He's our philosopher. And we love him. I was just teasing. There's a lot of reasons we keep him around. But that's just you just witnessed him in action, everybody. Stand back. Hey, I'm done being silly. Oh, let's talk about this part. I got another part to talk about. We can come back to that if anybody wants to. When secular Buddhism goes too far, this is related to the principles. In some circles, a secular ideal towards Buddhism can be taken to the extreme, a view that rejects all later Buddhist developments, anything deemed empirical, not empirical, or anything not currently understood. This often includes the outright rejection of any rites, rituals, ceremony, symbolism, or customs. Personally, I believe this is a mistake to deny the significance of Buddhism's long and rich history, its culture, and its experiential wisdom. Only the foolish blindly rejects only the foolish blindly rejects. The wise scrutinizes with a skeptical but not cynical eye. That's a funny sentence, isn't it? It's kind of cute, but it's kind of awkward. Uh, Possessing a humility that is open to new discovery and new ways of looking at things. Yeah, I think that whole thing is a funny sentence. Secular Buddhism practice. Generally, secular Buddhism engages in the same core practices as traditional Buddhism, namely the Four Noble Truths, the threefold training, meditation, mindfulness, contemplation, and practices that lead to happiness and contentment, while at the same time moving away from traditional rites and rituals. Do you think there's some truth to that? What do you guys think?
Ariel had a comment, but Ariel, I'm not sure. She said that's fair. Again, I just didn't want to confuse new people with thinking that those are SBT beliefs, but either way, Ariel, if you want to explain what you were talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was meaning to post that in the sub chat about like the discussion of our beliefs, like as we're working through things. Did I
Oh,
post
okay,
that as
okay,
a
okay.
separate comment? My bad.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, sorry, Tarpa.
But Wangmo made a good point, and maybe you're both making the same point. I didn't think about it. Yeah, is that because I posit this is what generally secular Buddhist groups believe. And then the question is, well, is that what SBT believes? And I think they're one and the same.
Okay.
But then it occurs to me that at some point, do we share the same list as here's SBT's view, or do we leave it as secular Buddhist groups posit that and not posit one for ourselves because we're not trying to tell people what to do? Maybe it's better to have this just open thing. And then maybe the answers will be like, well, is that your view? And we say, yeah, generally. And it makes us sound more open and egalitarian. What do you guys think? Did we do pretty good? What do you think about this when secular Buddhism goes too far? I see a lot of it. Again, we were talking about that dogma that secular Buddhists and what you have to do to be, what you have to believe or not believe to be a proper secular Buddhist. Well, guess what? That's what I was moving away from religion for. I didn't like all that dogma. I didn't like everybody. Who's that religious authority telling us what we can we can't be? How is this concept of spiritual or religious authority? What gives people the right to hold it over others? I don't like that at all. I don't like bullies. And sometimes the traditions, I think, bully people. Okay, the class. I thought it was going to be a really short class. It ran really long. And then we talked about secular Buddhism generally doing the same practices as traditional Buddhism. And it's true. Even a group like Stephen Batchelor's, which is quite removed, they still, they're meditators. They're practicing mindfulness. They're doing the basic practices. Wamo?
So we're a secular group, and we can all have
Secular
different
Buddhist group.
secular Buddhist group,
And
we
we're
can all
not
have
secular.
Okay. But what is your opinion about us sharing our different beliefs if they sometimes aren't the same as this? So like I notice sometimes, like I know you don't want us sometimes sharing things that aren't secular. So
Agreed.
if we do have different beliefs that sometimes don't agree with us, how far do you want us to
I
go with
get it.
sharing our beliefs?
You ain't kidding. So it's an easy answer if you're asking about instructors or teachers.
Right,
Instructors or
right.
teachers are taught, this is our curriculum. You teach us, you don't teach personal views.
100%.
And we just do that so we share, so we have a consistency. And we don't have teachers
100%.
going rogue and teaching healing crystals in the middle of one of our classes.
Yes.
But now on like chat groups,
Mm-hmm.
it's much more difficult. So we had somebody post a Hindu chant, mantra on the site, and then it's just a question of, what might offend other SBT members. Some SBT members are very on the secular side, and they would be offended by posts about Jesus or Muhammad or things like that. And it would depend on the context, if it's a comparison. So that's always just post by post, we're trying to evaluate it. One of the toughest parts of my job is trying to figure out where somebody's might be going too far. So we stick to the ideas that, well, first we're a Buddhist group. And so everybody's welcome to be here, but everybody's here to learn about Buddhism. And secondly, we're a secular Buddhists, right? So some of our members might lean more. We have a lot of Buddhist posts that talk about the more traditional. We're okay with that, as long as it doesn't go too far, But that's just every day I ponder that. The toughest part of my job, because I don't want to tell people what to do. But at the same time, if we don't have some kind of guardrails, it just turns into a big wash of nothing. We're not a Unitarian church. We do need to have a lane that we're in. And
Yeah.
I guess that's my job to figure out what that
Yeah.
is.
I think it's important that all of us are open to each other too, though. You know what I
It's
mean?
both, right?
Yeah, it's both.
It's
Yeah, I agree.
both. We can't let somebody go too far and bother others. And we can't let anybody else's objections get in the way of individuals. So that's the toughest part of my daily job, policing the Sangha. And it's not one of my favorite jobs. Padma.
So that's probably the most amount of chat I think I've ever seen on any of the lessons or anything. So there's quite a long thread there that talks about quite a few people with similar desire to hear from other people what they believe. Is there a possibility that a chat group could be created in the future for people to discuss in that way in a safe space?
I don't know. One thing is, we can only have so many chat groups. I think Sangha members pointed this out to me that we need an identity. Because I was getting very broad more and more. And our Sangha members said to me, they said, regardless of that, we really have to have an identity. People have to know why they're coming here. So it's not a matter of silencing people or sharing things, It's just a question of having that identity, that lane that we work in. Maybe some of the more personal things that people want to share, they could do on their own. But I do think that there's a point to not trying to be too broad in our presentation of Buddhism to the world. We have our niche, and I think it's okay to be us. We don't have to step into that lane. We don't have to become a universal Buddhist group. Well, that would be a lovely thing, wouldn't it? And you could join a universal group where that happens. Christians and Buddhists and everybody talk among each other. But no, we're strictly a secular Buddhist group in presentation, in curriculum. You don't have to be a secular Buddhist to be here, but our curriculum is. Hey, really good conversations. These really helped me in a lot of ways to understand the Sangha and also to really get an idea of where we're going and what we're doing, what SBT really is. So all of these thoughts, objections, whatever they are, they just more and more help to mold exactly what SBT needs to be. And for me, I'm always working for that neutral middle ground that can benefit everyone. Yeah. Hey, really cool. It was a fun class, wasn't it? I thought it was going to be short and boring. It turned out to be quite exciting. I want to thank everybody for your participation. Some brilliant thoughts. Whether I write them down or not, I thought they were all excellent. Hey, with that said, why don't we end today's class with our altruistic affirmation? May all be healthy, may all be prosperous, may all be well, may all be present, free of past regret and future worry. May all abide in constant appreciation, which is the source of great joy and contentment. May all realize their true nature and the true nature of reality. I'll post the script, the text from today's teaching online, so you can all nitpick at it all and write to me and tell me I got an or instead of an of and an and instead of a they. And would you also be interested in me posting Stephen Batchelor's 10 Theses of a Secular Buddhist? I have a copy of that. No, Padma. It's very interesting. I didn't care for it, but maybe some of you will. I'll post both of those. And and any thoughts, please get on WhatsApp and share them. The only thing that's important is the quality of the piece. Don't worry about myself. We only want a brilliant piece to be put into the book. So that'll be cool.
I
Thanks.
have to say, Tarpa, I think the 20 are outstanding.
Thank you.
I didn't want to say that because in case people thought I was sooking up to you, but I really do think they're outstanding.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. And I'm just joking. That's been years in the making. I think I started that way back when with SBT, and it's been gone through a lot of different iterations, and I think it's pretty good. And it doesn't mean that it's finished now. When I actually write the text, again, I'll dig more into it. But I really do want all of you to put some thinking in on it and help me to improve it, right? Okay, hey, with that said, bye-bye, everybody. I had a blast. It was a fun class. What are we going to talk about? Hey, next week, we're still on secular Buddhism, but next week I'm going to share my story, my secular Buddhist story. Does that sound interesting? How I starved in India with only pennies. I'm going to share that. So anyways, we'll see everybody next time. Bye-bye, friends. Thanks for coming.